These are desperate times for these women of Tana River County in Kenya. There is no water for them and their livestock. It hasn't rained for more than 3 seasons, and water has become a precious commodity in this part of Kenya.
Kama yeye unanenesha matiti, mama unakaa hapa tu, unalala hapa mama.
The global climate is changing faster than anticipated, and the effects are crystal to see.
What climate change has meant is that when the rains do come, they come at different times and in such extreme volumes that they cause floods.
And too little water is siphoning life out of people and their livelihoods. Very unusual sights like dead giraffes, donkeys and camels are becoming common in parts of Kenya like Wajir.
You hear that? This area is still part of northeastern Kenya.
But for some, changing times mean new ways of survival. In recent months, I've traversed the country from northeastern to coast and to the Rift Valley. I've been looking at climate change and its effects on people. I've seen people struggling to survive. I've seen people lose their livelihoods. And I've also seen people working extra hard to beat the effects of climate change. Now, this is the story of climate change in Kenya and how people are surviving. In Tana River, underground water wells, a group of women and men are searching for the now precious commodity. With a mega drought ongoing and underground water levels decreasing, they have to dig deeper.
Asa sehemu za Chirfa toka saa 8 ya usiku kutafuta maji. Niko na mtoto changa nyumbani, sijui wako hali gani. Kuanzia saa 8 ya usiku niko hapo na nitarudi saa 7 ya jioni. Narudi na maji ya 10 lita nyumbani. Nalala hapa kisimani, narudi na maji ya 10 lita. Shida yetu ni hiyo.
They dig to follow the disappearing underground water. They scoop everything.
Shika.
Sana watu kabena watada.
Wewe shika.
Ma'am,
leta mkuu. Hata gome unahama huko, hapa hakuna maji, hakuna manyazi, unapiga kule hama galole. Hata chai pia ni usurungi tu. Watoto kidogo unanyonya, unahara tu.
As they pull out a jerrycan or two, Many are waiting outside. A good number too weak or too young to climb down. But for some, their bones and muscles have no power. They can't move. Sickness and lack of food and water is eating away their flesh.
Amor pakamo punggolen teta dit kan jirtu won tok tashi nukar kartin jirtu shitana adi romanza tun tala meza jartitan hatta junu amta shida bisani zaidi gudyo kam nuni yata sagaleya hatta bisana amtan watarabbinen bek shen ta ishaten dofe wondi kan nuni jirtu debu tam gwaren gitar mun kamna.
I meet Barisa Dara, who has been forced to migrate in search of water and pasture for his livestock.
Lakini sasa shida kubwa ni kwamba mvua inanyesha ni kidogo mara nyingi, na ule msimu wa kiangazi unakuwa mwingi zaidi. Sasa katika maisha yangu yote kusema leo kweli ni shawahi kupitia majanga kama haya. Mifugo ilikuwa inapungua, inaisha. Mvua kidogo ikinyesha nini inapata kuongezeka kidogo, inakuwa namna hiyo tu.
His cattle mean everything to him. It's everything he owns.
Ile mifugo niko nayo si yangu peke yangu. Niko na ya babangu na niko na ya ndugu yangu pia. Pamoja na mimi, sote tulikuwa tukichanganya hivi, tumekuja hapa na kama ng'ombe kama 200 hivi. Kusema leo kweli kwa sahihi zile za kwenda zimeenda, tumebakia na kama 120 tuseme. Na bado zile zimebakia pia hazina nguvu, zinaelekea kukufa tu.
Watoto kwanza hawaendi shule, hawaendi hata masomo ya dini yetu pia. Hata madometri zamani ilikuwa imejaa watoto, sasa tumefunga. Walimu wanaitisha pesa mtihani, watoto wenyewe hawako. Naenda darasa la kwanza, la pili, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 mpaka 8, hakuna watoto. Na ukosa sio yetu. Kwa sababu kama niko na watoto 6 ama 8 kwa ndani ya nyumba, mtungi ya 10 lita itatosha kweli maji? Shida iko shida. Shida hii sijawahi kuona mimi. Isiponyesha hapa, bibi na bwana wameachana, mama na baba pia na watoto pia wataachana. Kwa sababu baba atakimbilia ngombe atafute, kesho ile ngombe inuke, mtoto atakaa na kiu. Within 3 to 2 weeks isiponyesha mvua ama hatukupata maji ya kutosha, watu wataenda. Haki ya Mungu utasikia watu kadhaa wamekufa na kiu. Wacha niseme ile ukweli wa Mungu. Na wanyama pori sasa ndio wanaangamizwa na kiu. Wataleta adhari kubwa sana, adhari kubwa sana.
In Kenya, the reality of climate change is already home. Droughts are becoming longer and heat waves are becoming hotter. It's becoming so dry that it's preserving its victims like never before.
Before the drought, people were happy and they were outside the homesteads. Now you see people are all over. They do not have anything else to do. They don't have livestock to look after. That's why they are here, just staying idle. And also, we are lacking food. But my household, people love coming my household because I can give them food. And even if we don't have food, we can just stay here and be happy together. And all these people, when you see them and try to, some of them, when they remove their shirts, you can see that they are very malnourished because we are not getting enough.
I imagine to see people who are thirsty or hungry, but I'm seeing people who are actually losing their livelihoods too. In many cases, seeing depression and sadness on top of hunger and thirst.
And when it rains, floods are sweeping everything on the way.
My name is Murray Roberts, and I'm here with my partner, Dr. Elizabeth Meyerhoff. And we are dealing with semi-arid pasture production. So all around this area there are many fields that we have planted with the local communities. Unfortunately, many of them are now flooded. So where the people were making a good living, buying and selling livestock, fattening cattle, selling hay and so on, now they're destitute. I think we've got to look at the situation. First of all, the rains this year were excessive, which we can attribute, I think, to global warming. Secondly, the deforestation is really causing a lot more water to come into the lake than would normally come in. Forests act like a sponge, and with that sponge effect missing, then we're starting to look at flash flooding. And that water is no longer being held in the Mao up on the Kericho areas and so on, but it just comes straight down into the lake. So that is one thing. Now the lake itself, I think the water may have come out something in the region of 50 feet from the bottom from where it was to now. And in some areas, we're looking at maybe 5 kilometers that the lake has flooded. Not to mention villages, schools, dispensaries and so on. It's been devastating.
Tambo kidogo maji kasonga mpaka katikati hapa, kasonga tena kidogo akarudi nyuma kidogo, kidogo akakuja tena, akakuja sasa sipit mpaka hapa. Naona hii miti miso ya hii miti hiyo maji akasimama hapo kidogo tena kasonga sasa mwaka hii kasonga sasa mpaka sasa kupika kwa lam, tunafikiria hata maji narudi hakurudi.
Burning fossil fuel to power development has negatively increased the global temperature by over 1 degree Celsius. And the atmosphere is collapsing. Burning fossil fuels produce carbon dioxide. It acts like a blanket that absorbs heat waves from the Earth's surface. And that keeps the surface warmer than it will be otherwise. The problem is carbon dioxide has a longer lifespan. It lives for more than 100 years, and that is where the problem lies. Now, there is too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, making the world we live in hotter than it was during pre-industrial times. The warming is enough to bring about the changes we are calling climate change.
Sasa hii maji yameleta hasara kubwa, kafunga lam sasa mpaka sisi tunakosa mahali pa kupitia.
Here, near the Kenya-Somalia border, is where the story of human survival begins. Northeastern is one of the driest places in Kenya. But locals say heat waves are becoming intense and more frequent. The soils are drying up to a degree never seen before, and the result? Devastating drought. Scientists say the planet's temperature has risen unusually fast, and the people of northeastern Kenya are feeling it. These people have lived here since the beginning of time, resilient and resourceful. They have devised survival tactics and cultures and deep bonds with these drylands. But something is changing, and it's changing fast. Unusual sights are becoming too common. Giraffes, donkeys and camels are dying. There is no water, no pasture for them. Over 70% of livestock here in Loyangalani, Marsabit County have died, and it's a big problem for the people.
Tunadhamanga hiyo mali ndio banki yetu, kasi yetu. Lakini tangu ikikuja naona maskini inaendelea kuingia sisi. Na imeingia tayari, hakuna kitu kingine.
Pastoralism is their way of life. They depend on livestock for virtually everything. The losses are devastating. They are just praying for rains to come.
Hata mtu nafuata ng'ombe kama sasa kwa mfano sisi nafuata ng'ombe, mambo ikimsimu mtu jawahi wana kitu chochote. Na hii ng'ombe hawana maziwa kukunya naye. Tunaenda tu kwa msituni tu, tunatembea tu na Mungu. Tunakuja nyumbani, hakuna kitu tena tunakuja kushukua kwa hapa juu, hakuna kitu ya kununua naye.
My call to action for the partners across the world is don't ignore what's happening in East Africa. The food crisis is real. I've seen it face to face, and these people might not be as front page today as Ukraine is, but they need us to help them, to support them.
Now more than ever, habitats of these drylands of northeastern Kenya, Marsabit and Tana River must adapt to survive. Well, Tana River appears to be a county of contrast. On one hand, people are losing their livelihoods. Carcasses here, carcasses there. But on the other side, and along River Tana, people are putting on a shift. For those close to water bodies like River Tana, adapting means embracing a different way of life. Crop farming.
waxaan cadiyo hilib iyo caana aan ku cunay dabadeed waxay noqdeen aan beer abuur beertii aan abuuranay nafaqo badan baan keenay laakiin xoolaha nafaqo wax saaso aan ka siiyay ma sii jirin laakiin beerta nafaqo aan keenay amboogan keenayna amboogan nafaqo qabta suuqan geysanayna lacag keenayna.
The utilization of water from the river is changing the environment and temperatures.
You hear that? This area is still part of northeastern Kenya, just along River Tana. And residents here have decided to do agriculture, tapping water from the river to change their lives from pastoralists to farmers. And it just looks awesome. On one side you can see mangoes, on the other side you can see other crops, maize farms. And it's just in the northeastern Kenya. It just shows the potential the northern part of Kenya has to turn things around.
In Madogo area, on the border between Tana River and Garissa counties, pastoralists are transitioning to mixed farming.
dabadeed waxay noqotay inaan beer abuurno beertii aan abuuranay nafaqo badan baan ka helay laakiin xoolaha nafaqo wax saas aan ka siiyay ma sii jirin laakiin beerta nafaqo aan ka helay amboogan ka helayna amboogan nafaqo ay qabtaa suuqan geysanayna lacag ka helayna marka waxyaalo fara badan aan ka helay horaantii hore laakiin xaskan dad iska reebaadiyo ama nolol aan ku tiirsan laakiin intaan beerta aan bilaabnay oo ilaa noo baxday nin wax fahmay oo wax kala fahmay yaa noqon.
Armed with a generator, they are pumping water from River Tana to irrigate their farms. They do basin irrigation, with the generator pumping water into the canals that eventually flood their farms. Besides food, residents are growing trees which are bringing that cooling effect in a rather hot environment.
Oh yeah, yeah. I almost fell.
Unlike in many parts of this region, there is plenty of pasture for their livestock. These farmers believe that many more people can transition if help is accorded to them. Each and every time I left the areas of Tana River, Marsabit and northeastern Kenya, I realized that something must be done and must be done fast, or increased heat waves due to climate change will make the planet unsustainable. Because these changes are not just happening here, they are occurring in many parts of the world. I've also realized that everyone must adapt to survive, and those in power must act, and act very fast. My name is Enoch Sikoli, and I am the Kenyan Historian.